there, fellow YouTubers and ship geeks alike. This is Commodore Urban here once again. And even though this is Titanic week, but I actually got this here recently, and I figured I'd share it with you. And before I tell you what it is, my birthday was actually not too long ago, and my mother didn't have the money and stuff at the time. She said she was going to get me something, and sure enough, she did. She surprised me with something. And yeah, it was a couple of days ago when I got it, but I didn't have a chance till today to make the video. So anywho, what it was she handed me this package and here you go, this is something I figured you'd like to have. And I was like, oh cool. So I opened it up and stuff, and this is what I got right here. And this is what I got right here, a 1/600 scale SS United States. Now, before we dig into this, before I dig into this here, this model review, this inbox model review, I actually want to give you kind of a history on the kit, because I already had one of these, which if you've seen my earlier video that I did, my review on the SS United States by Revell, I already had built one of these, which I have the original box right here. This is the original 1950s model kit right here that I had gotten previously. And so I will talk a little bit about the history of the kit. Now, when the SS United States first entered transatlantic service in 1952, you know, everybody wanted to hop on the bandwagon and produce items in the image of the ship. And one of the companies that did this was the Revell Model Company of Venice, California. They're like, okay, this will be a hot money maker. And so, after a lot of wrangling with United States Lines, which in turn United States Lines did a lot of wrangling with Gibbs and Cox, because Gibbs and Cox was the holders of the plans for the ship. And after getting some modified plans for the ship, because at the time the ship was classified top secret, and henceforth why the model is flat bottomed, as I can show you right here, the model is flat bottomed because of the fact the underwater portion of the ship was classified top secret by the U.S. Navy, including Gibbs and Cox. Primarily, William Francis Gibbs didn't want other designers to know what the bottom of the ship looked like. Anywho, so in 1954, Joey. But anyway, back in 1954 and 1955, Revell released the first model of the SS United States. And actually, they were actually the second company to release it, because a year before, 1954, the Idea Toy Corporation released their 1/400 scale plastic model. So Revell's was the second model, but honestly, of the two model kits, the Revell one was more prototypical, was more what you call scaled sized. Everything was proportionate with one another versus the ITC model, which later on Glencoe reproduced it back in the 90s, which I have the Glencoe one. Anyway, the very first version of the model came in this box right here. This was the very first box that it came in. And on the sides of it, you had all these other models of ships and planes and stuff they were producing, and basically, and that's the end of the box. And basically, you know, it was a lift top box. And on the front of it, it says, all plastic, quick, easy to build, no cutting and no sanding. And if you remember my model review, that was a load of bullshit, because there was a lot of cutting and there was a lot of sanding. But anywho, when the model was first produced, because a lot of other ship models they were producing at the time had a base, and so they gave you these two little leg things to prop the model up onto, which honestly, I think these are really stupid idea, but that's just me. And the model itself, you know, they give you an instruction sheet, which the instruction sheet was quite nice, because on the background it had, you know, the United States Lines Eagle. But what I think is was really confusing about these was the fact that it was an exploded diagram. It showed all the pieces kind of blown out from one another, and that was kind of a bit confusing for me when I was building my original model, when I was building this original kit. But after this kit came out in 55, it ran for a few years until about 57, 59, when they changed the box again. This time they put a picture of the United States on a real photograph, and on the box side it says Passport to Pleasure was what it was called, and it was boxed that way for several years, and it sold until about mid-60s. And then the model was discontinued until about the early mid-1970s, long after the United States was laid up. And it came in a stylized packaging that was, that screamed 1970. And across the top it said SS United States, world's fastest liner. And it had this stylized painting of the ship. And it sold pretty well for a short period of time until they pulled it off of the market once again. And then, throughout the 80s until about the early 90s, and that's when they released another incarnation of the kit. This time the box of it was in a blue box with white lettering at the top, said SS United States, and had a painting of the ship. And that was then when it actually labeled the kit as a 1/600 scale. Everything else, it didn't say 1/600 scale on none of the other boxes. Besides the instruction sheet for the Passport to Pleasure series version of the United States, which it did say 1/600 scale. But before that, there was nothing on the box at all that claimed it as a 1/600 scale. And it sold pretty well through, the early 90s until about 93, 94, and it was pulled off the shelves once again. And then during what was considered as ocean liner fever, during the time when the movie Titanic was released, Revell released a bunch of their older passenger ship models out again and nostalgic looking packaging, including the United States. And it was released in this nostalgic packaging, like it looks like old packaging, but it's not. And it was sold between 97 and about 2000. And then it was pulled off of the thing again. So from about then until about 2015, 2016, the only way you can get a United States model is to hunt around on eBay and pay out the ass for it. But then that's when Revell finally re-released the kit in 2016, because of all the news that's been going around about the SS United States and her hopeful future. Revell finally re-released the ship in this packaging as you see here. And this is the newest version, and you can get these for about between 15 to 30 bucks depending on the seller you buy it from. And so there's kind of a generalized history on the kit right there. And that's basically the general history of that kit in itself. And before I end this this part here, and before I end part one of this two-part review on this inbox review on this kit, I do want to do a little bit of history about how the kit was made. When Revell was trying to scramble to get plans for this ship, they went to United States Lines directly for a full set of plans. But because of the ship being, the top secret features of the ship, they couldn't release plans to Revell. So United States Lines got prepared plans from Gibbs and Cox, which showed the particulars of the ship down to the water line. And from those plans that Gibbs and Cox prepared, that gave United States Lines in turn gave those plans to Revell, and from those plans Revell made the kit of the United States, which honestly is probably one of the best looking United States model kits I have seen. And frankly, it really was, because the proportion of it, it's a lot more proportion versus the other one. I'll show you here with my one I built here, my original one. As you can see, she's really well proportioned. Everything about her is actually proportioned up to the actual ship. So that's what makes this one a little bit more of a detailed model versus the Glencoe one. Even though the Glencoe / ITC kit is a lot bigger, but it's kind of like it's been kind of crunched in, squished. And honestly, it kind of throws off the overall effects of the lines of the ship. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's a beautiful kit too. It's just the Revell ones looks more strike on perfect. So I hope you enjoyed part one of this two-part inbox model review. And until next time, this is your old friend Commodore Urban saying, have smooth seas and clear skies and happy sailing with you. And as always, if you like my video, hit the like button. Got any questions or comments, leave them in the comment section below. And if you like my channel, hit subscribe.